Dan and I knew we wanted to improvise the whole movie, so it was kind of like we knew we wanted people that were very natural and that could act, but didn't look like they were acting.
This is my home, which I am leaving the comforts of for the weekend to explore the Blair Witch.
Luckily, Heather, Michael, and Josh were, first of all, super talented and like really smart and like really great improv actors, and they were able to, they trusted us enough to bring them to Maryland and put them in the woods, for 8 days and really, terrorize them and not show. We didn't show them the script. I mean, they had no idea what the hell we were going to do with them. And Dan and I, as far as directing, were very, hands off. The editing was really when the movie came together. And once we had trust in the actors, we felt that we felt pretty good about letting them loose, And it worked really great, man. Like we would give them little directing notes. They would each have a directing note, 4 or 5 times a day, and it would say different things, obviously, to each of the people. They weren't allowed to like share the notes with each other.
Yeah.
But Heather, Mike, and Josh, made the film what it was, what it is. Like they really brought it to life.
I don't know why you have to have every conversation on video.
Because we're making a documentary.
Not about us getting lost. We're making a documentary about a witch.
This is in where, in an atmosphere, in an environment where we had no money. So we racked our brain as far as like, okay, what do we want to see at the end? Like what? Because we knew the movie was going to end in the cellar of the house, but we didn't know how it was going to end. We didn't know exactly what was going to happen down there. So we went through a lot of scenarios where, we wanted to do, do you see a shadow? Do you see, Josh come out of a grave? Like, there's some really stupid ideas, man. Like, do we want, the walls to tremble? Do we want the house to cut? Like all these stupid, and dude, honestly, we started shooting the movie without knowing how it was going to end. And Greg Hale, the producer, one of the producers would come in every day and be like, you have 6 days until, we shoot this, we have 7 days, we have 5 days. And because, it wasn't for us, we had a very limited crew, we had very limited money. So if we wanted anything to happen there, we were going to have to tell them pretty soon, like, all right, we're going to need to dig a hole, we're going to need to put a box and it's going to explode or whatever the hell it's going to be, or a light, is going to come from the walls or whatever. Not only do you have to come up with an ending, we have to come up with an ending that requires no art direction. Like, we can't build anything, we can't cast anybody, like, we can't do anything, So luckily we came up with that idea and it worked, and and then later on was when we kind of came up with the reasons as to why he's standing in the corner,
I can see you.
I'm real excited about this. Thank you for
I'm
the
very
opportunity.
glad.
How was dealing with this idea of people believing that this was a true story, and people started to, send postcards to Donahue's mother because they thought that she was dead?
Yeah. No, I mean, it was, that was something, that was another thing that I was kind of talking about before, is that all the things that made, that were negatives on other films were positive for us, and the idea that, like, no one had heard of anybody in the movie was a positive for us because we could put all this stuff up there and nobody knew who Eduardo Sánchez was or Heather Donahue or Mike Williams,
It involved developing a website, like spreading fake news when we didn't know what a fake news was. And now, how was that?
Now, it's being thrown in our faces now. We were completely unknown, and we were able to kind of fabricate this thing, and it was just all, based on the movie. We needed we needed a mythology for Heather and Mike and Josh to go into the woods. They needed something to go out there to study, to make this film about. So we created this Blair Witch, and and we started building this website. People started coming to the website. Even while we were editing the movie, they wanted to be part of the story.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you were, part of the whole idea of like why, Blair Witch was kind of like viral before that even existed, because people were making VHS copies of the movie and sending it out to people, like industry people, I pretty much anybody who is in the film business, like LA or, especially, LA, when they talk to me like, oh, I saw Blair Witch. Usually, somebody gave them a VHS, like a fake, like an illegal copy of it. Because back then, that was the only way to spread things around was, VHS. And to me, that's like the perfect way to watch the movie. Like this unlabeled, third generation shitty VHS. You pop it in, you're like, what the fuck? What the hell is this? You know what I mean? Really, all you had to do was like look at any interview of me and Dan, and we never said it was real. I mean, never. Like you know what I'm saying? Like we were just like, oh no, we came up with the story here and we did this. So, any amount of research that you want, but again, that was a different time. The internet wasn't as you can find out everything now. Back then you rarely found what you were really looking for.
Just want to apologize to Mike's mom and Josh's mom and my mom.
Tell me where you are, Josh!
The studio, Artisan was basically, with the trailers and with the TV special Curse of the Blair Witch and the book and, the comic book, all this stuff, all of it was geared toward the idea that this was real, that this was real footage, like they didn't let the actors, they hid the actors away for 2 weeks, before they released them, to be on shows and stuff. And so there was that thing where like, oh, this is real, and look at the trailer, and oh my God, it's creepy, and it's handheld, and look, oh, there's a newspaper report, or there's a, all the stuff was about like how real it was real, and then we, Dan and I, were basically just the filmmakers being interviewed about the movie, and we never ever pretended that the movie was real. Like people would be like, okay, so it's fake, right? And we're like, yeah, it's fake. All right, who wrote it? Well, we wrote it together, and we did this, and this is how we, whatever. So, and it was weird that those two, that those things kind of existed on, without, kind of interfering with each other. But we, like when we were early on in the movie, like when we were making the movie before Artisan bought it, we didn't want it to be like a hoax. Like we didn't want to think, we didn't want to make people to think that we were like trying to fool them for, to take their money or whatever. So we were, we were always very kind of like, all right, what do we, how do we tell people this, and then when Artisan came along, they were like, no, we're not going to tell anybody it's fake. So we were like, okay, I guess you guys knew what you were doing. I mean, we didn't create the genre, but we definitely popularized it, Yeah. And I love the idea that, like, the kernel, the idea of Blair Witch is that anybody can do it, that there's like a story anywhere, and movies don't have to be shot on 35 millimeter, they don't have to have any lighting, they don't, that the idea of documentary and storytelling, could kind of come together. There's still a lot of, things to kind of explore that. With that, and now that there's, so many found footage movies, and really good ones, some great ones, and, I mean, I'm super proud of it. Like I love found footage movies. I like the idea of like, finding a new kind of angle into this world, this documentarian world, it's like basically it's like, and it's interesting how you build up this documentary this person that's making a documentary basically, I think there's been so many clever versions of it,